says it was all what? Meaningless. It was all meaningless, like chasing the wind. If we believe the lie that our identity comes from, I am what I do, then our identity comes from several wrong places. And some of us need to get honest. Some of us need to get honest. Because listen to me, I'm glad that you got a nice car. But the nice car is a blessing from God, but it does not make you better than anybody else. I'm glad you like your Beamer. I like Beamers. I personally like Ferraris. I like supercars. And if one day I had one, which I did, and all hell broke loose, and I turned it back in, one day I will not. Because everybody gets all crazy, right? But that's not who you are. That's not who I am. But you know what kind of... It doesn't matter. Solomon, a trillionaire, said, I've learned that it is all meaningless. I used to think, when I finally get the watch of my dreams, then it's good. Nothing wrong with having a nice watch, because that's where some of you go the other way. I see this all the time. It's a poverty, scarcity mentality. Well, and it's so funny, judgment goes both ways. If you are blessed, don't apologize. Utilize your blessing for the glory of God. But I thought, okay, if I have this house, if I have this, if I have that, I'm in the ministry. I'm like, oh my gosh. And when I had some of those things, I realized I'm the same Benny Perez. I'm the same bald-headed Mexican, good-looking though, guy. My wife should have got up and shouted on that one. I don't know. It is meaningless if you connect your identity to what you do. What do I do? You know that I worked at Knott's Berry Farm? You know I worked at McDonald's, a Fortune 500 company? You know I worked at Rite Aid? You know I was a salesman, and one day I just want to go back to sales. Can I tell you this? That is what I did, but that is not my identity. Listen, my first car was a 1965, come on, Volkswagen. I changed the oil myself, praise the Lord. There was no anti-theft detection, come on. I walk out, it's stolen, I can't find it anywhere. Right? That was so fun, man. Those were the days, man. It's like, man, I'm just like shifting that car, man, and people are honking at me. I got it on the floor, baby. I don't know how fast I could go. You know what's so cool? That you can have such a secure identity, it doesn't matter what you drive. Can I tell you, I've driven the most expensive Rolls Royce. Somebody flipped me the keys and said, go ahead and drive this bad boy. And they said, just bring it back with the gas tank full. I said, all right. And I was like, come on, somebody. San Fernando Valley. And let me tell you something. It was cool to be in the car, especially since I didn't have a payment. It was cool to be in that, it was cool, but it did not define who I was. What you do and everything else does not define you. Come on, somebody. God defines you. Number 2, write this down. So Solomon begins to understand something. Our life is founded on placement. It's very important. God took me from one place to another place. Because if we buy into that lie, then we're going to begin to believe the lie that I am what I do. Other lies come with it. And our identity comes from what we have accomplished called the performance lie. Hey, look what I have done. I'm the top producer in my company. I'm the #1 salesman. I hit $5 million in real estate sales, and that's awesome. And let me tell you something. You should be grateful for your accomplishments, but that is not what defines you. Your performance does not define you. Again, your performance athlete does not define you. Again, businesswoman, your performance does not define you. I'm here to tell you, I want you to perform. I want you to be peak performer. I'm a coach. I can help you get there. But can I tell you something? That does not define you. It doesn't define me how big my church is. It doesn't define me where I begin to preach. Because performance is a trap. Because here's what happens. If you perform good, you're feeling good, but you're not going to perform good every week, or you're not going to be the number one every month. And if it's tied up to that, you will now find yourself on a roller coaster.